On this episode of First Issue Ever, it's another edition of First Movie Review Ever as we take a look at Captain America: Civil War. Tin Hut Soldier!
First Issue Ever!
Ooh, look at that haul. 1 comic book, 2 free comic book, 3 free comic book. Oh, hello. Didn't hear you come in. Welcome back to another episode of First Issue Ever, the only show that cares about the only number that matters in the world of comics and sometimes movies, and that is the number 1. My name is Steve, possibly last name Rogers. Think about it. And together, you and I will manifest destiny from sea to shining sea in the world of comics. Welcome back to another edition of Captain America Month, Soldier! And we're good, yes. And as of yesterday, it was Free Comic Book Day, and I was just counting my haul, and I couldn't have even participated in Free Comic Book Day if it wasn't for my good friends Peter, possibly last name Parker, and Diana, possibly last name Troy. You don't know. Maybe it's the truth. Anyway, they were nice enough to pick me up, and we went to a bunch of comic book stores around the LA area, or is it Metropolis or Gotham City? You don't know. You just don't know. I got a bunch of free comic books and some awesome deals on some number 1. So you know what that means? More content for you, the viewer. And speaking of that, we are now at 40 subscribers strong. Oh, we're a small but mighty unit, and eventually we will take over the internet. I promise you that. Captain America Month, America, Free Comic Book Day. In America, we have freedom, and that equals Free Comic Book Day. That's right, they fought a war so we could have free comics. In fact, I believe it was Patrick Henry who said, "Give me free comic books or give me death." He threw down his glove. Or actually, should I say Infinity Gauntlet? Check your history books, it actually happened. And of course, it was George W. Bush, remember him, who said, "Free comic books, mission accomplished." That also actually happened. Look it up, it's out there somewhere, maybe on an AOL page. Men have fought wars so we could have free comic books, and speaking of wars, I got to see Captain America: Civil War. And I'm gonna tell you my thoughts on it starting about now. I went opening night, Friday. Well, I think it was technically Thursday, it was probably the opener, but whatever. Friday it was. We don't normally do that because of course it's crowded. The theater is normally filled with idiots. You know what I'm talking about. Unless you are one of those idiots, then you probably have no idea you're an idiot. But yes, it was a 2:30 showing. The theater was packed. But it was a pretty decent crowd. They at least kept their mouths shut and their phones off because they knew what was good for them. We bought a large novelty popcorn bucket, which could also possibly double as a trash receptacle. Hey, look, I'm replacement guitarist for Guns N' Roses Buckethead. All right, maybe I need a bigger bucket. Oh well, still, this is a sturdy bucket that's sure to be worth absolutely nothing in the future. But I think it'll look good in our little backdrop here, don't you think? All right, the lights dimmed and we were bombarded with a bunch of trailers. Most of them look like crap, except for Doctor Strange. Already the superhero fatigue starts sitting in and I go, oh, here we are. Another Marvel movie, another superhero movie. What are they gonna show me that's gonna be different this time? It's like all those horrible feelings that I mentioned. You know, I'm like, oh, Disney, I gave my money to Disney. I gave my money to the big studios. I should be giving it to real, independent, hard-working artists. Whatever, that's what I chose. And I couldn't help but feeling that way. I didn't want to. We launched in the movie and here we go. We're gonna start out with what's good first, and I'm gonna tell you what I didn't like about it. Then I'm gonna render the overall verdict. If you watched my review on Deadpool, you'll know that this is how it works. First off, there's going to be a lot of spoilers for the movie and Civil War, the comic. So if you don't want spoilers, then you might just want to come back later. Here's what I liked. Great action, lots of really great action. Everybody seems to be well in command of their powers. People work together. They act like a fully functioning unit. In fact, the film opens with Cap working with his side of the Avengers that formed at the end of Avengers Age of Ultron. This movie is way better than Avengers Age of Ultron for sure. That I personally feel that movie was a mess, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Captain America Civil War. Aside from the action, lots of great dialogue and interpersonal moments between the characters. Maybe not as much as I'd like. There wasn't enough, Cap and Bucky time. And I guess we might as well just move into stuff that I didn't like. And that is, this movie should not start with Captain America Civil War. This should be called Avengers Civil War. And also, I don't even know about the Civil War part, because I guess it's a civil war, it's a disagreement and sort of brother versus brother, but it's not the Civil War from the comics, that's for sure. I feel like some marketing guy, at Disney probably got involved and they were like, hey, what's that big crossover that got us the numbers back in the day? Oh yeah, Civil War. We're gonna tack that on to this Captain America movie. And yeah, I guess it should be Captain America, a Civil War. Because in the Civil War comic, so much crazier stuff happened, especially with how it ended. I guess they could continue those threads throughout their grand cinematic plan universe or whatever. But as far as this Captain America Civil War, it should be called Avengers Civil War, or no, it should be called Avengers, we have a big fight at an airport. This could have been handled differently. It could have been scaled back a bit. There could have been one scene where they all fought and then they could focus more on the argument between Cap versus Iron Man and Bucky, that whole thing. I feel like, someone came along and they were like, look, we really need to liven things up with a wacky fight between the Avengers that's very comedic, and on top of that, they had to shoehorn in Spider-Man. Now, I'm not saying that all this stuff didn't work. It just sort of shifts in the middle to the more lighthearted comedic Marvel stuff. From where it started out, it was very kind of dark and talking about, serious stuff. Watching it unfold was awesome though. Once it was done and then it got back to the Captain America movie part, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. This is the Captain America movie. Basically, the fight in the middle, it's very entertaining, had lots of memorable moments, but overall, you could probably edit it out or edit it down and it wouldn't affect the overall story that much. Also, they advertise people possibly dying, a trailer, and of course they don't. Someone gets hurt, but he'll be back, I suppose, or they'll get rid of him. I don't know. And it wasn't anyone who has their own movie franchise, that's for sure. If you get my drift. Started out one way, one sort of dark, semi-serious way, and then it went up into lighthearted, super heroic. We're fighting each other, but we're not really. We don't really mean. We're just sort of like, it's like when brothers fight, sort of hilarious to watch them beat the crap out of each other. And then finally at the end, someone got hurt. That's basically how it is. Finally, we get back to the Captain America storyline. At the end, some very super serious stuff happens. And here's where I really start questioning some of the choices made. There's a secret that apparently Cap has been keeping from Iron Man, which none of that was in the comics. And it gets revealed at the end, and that's what makes the big Cap, Bucky, Iron Man fight. Just doesn't seem like something that Captain America would do. Not everything from the comics has to be on the screen, I understand that, but you have to keep within the confines of the choices that the characters would make, like, logical decisions. Another one is Black Widow, where she is on Team Iron Man for some reason, and in the comics, she helped out Bucky and Cap so much because she and Bucky were trained by the, same Russians. And they even had a little allusion to that in the film where Zemo comes in, he gives him the little code word, and then Winter Soldier goes insane. Then he goes and fights Black Widow, and Black Widow goes, "At least you could recognize me." There you go. They worked together or were trained together. I can't remember exactly. I think it was both. And they had a little romance going on there as well, but they didn't completely ignore it. Like, all we get is that one thing from Black Widow, and then maybe, I guess, that was supposed to be her character motivation that made her change her mind at the end. So to sum up, Captain America Civil War, definitely worth seeing. I'm glad I saw it in the theater. I'm glad I have my cool bucket here, and I'd love to go see it again, maybe when it hits the dollar theater or something like that. I don't think anything's gonna come out that's gonna top that anytime soon, at least by any of the other big studios. Suicide Squad, more like career suicide. Oh, by the way, did you know that the Suicide Squad comic is the only free comic book that Hot Topic is handing out? My name is Steve, and this has been first review ever, Captain America Civil War. Captain America month will continue all throughout the month of May, so make sure you stick around for some more sweet, sweet Captain America content. See you next time, soldier. Dismissed!